What's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of the Unholy Trinity. I'm Philip Ganias. I'm with Chris Carino Jr. We're going to talk some Mets. We're going to talk some Nets. We're going to talk some Jets. Big show planned for you today. Chris, what's up, buddy?
Phil, how are you? You're in proper Unholy Trinity attire.
Yes, I was a little nervous about what I was going to wear, but this is really only for the visual guys.
You're a nervous guy, Phil.
I'm a nervous guy, but, that's how great things happen. So
This is true.
we're cool with that. We
High
got
bars
Brandon
of
Marshall in the back.
expectation, Genius.
That's true. We got Brandon Marshall in the back, a little wrinkly, but it's okay.
I mean, is a Brandon Marshall
getting in the
shirt
spirit.
gonna be pressed? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been in the closet for a while just because, it's been a while. But I'm thinking, good turnaround. We're going to get some good wide receivers this year, and he's a good omen for us. So,
Him and Eric Decker had the streets by they had the chokehold on the streets.
we had the streets. We had New York on lock. Everyone
Remember
was tuning
that
into the
Patriot
Jets.
game at MetLife? I remember that.
Who doesn't? I was watching on an iPad in the back room of a Christmas party.
The
10-year kid.
Eric Decker winner, right?
Oh, it was unbelievable. It
So
was
you
actually
think? See, you
unbelievable.
could say I know ball.
Chris Carino Jr. knows ball.
That's not, but that's jet ball. That's not bad.
That's good.
I
mean,
remember
that was
Victor.
like the best season we've ever had.
To be honest, when you say Jets Christmas, I think of Victor Cruz just like emasculating the Jets organization.
And he fires, and the catch is made by Cruz, who breaks free. One man to beat. Victor Cruz down the sideline. Cruz is going to take it all the way, tying an NFL record. 99 yards from Manning to Cruz.
Yeah, that was like the old. That was the old Jets Giants rivalry. that
You
don't
know, like
exist.
as in it's changed.
the fake rivalry that doesn't really exist. But we can get into that.
That's sort of little. That's very little brother FC of you to like, because the Jets haven't changed. The Giants have. So
The
like,
Jets haven't changed. The Giants fluctuate, but most of the time they stay pretty levelly.
I'm saying you're basically
bad.
just making a point about how bad the Giants have gotten. Like you're not even really commenting on the Jets.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a sneak diss, but yeah. I mean,
And the
Jets-
Jets are coming off good years. Like the Jets still had Darrell Revis,
yeah. Were you talking about the Christmas game or in 2015?
and Victor Cruz. Yeah, when they were
Oh, yeah.
they got cooked.
The Jets were coming off good years. Yeah, they had a good secondary, but yeah, they had some fall apart years those seasons. Those were like the Met Jet seasons. We've recently come into some Net Jet seasons where the team is just.
I feel like Met Jet season is
Stinking.
coming up. It feels like the vibes on both ends
We'll
are going
see,
up.
bro. It depends. Week 6, if we're 4-2, then it's a Net Jet. If we're 1-5, it's a Net Jet.
Might have been the most fun night in Queens in a long time last night. I know we're not. I don't want to jump around everywhere, but
Yesterday?
it was fun last night.
I went on. I was there on Sunday. And I
Did
saw
you go
them
Sunday?
Finished. I was there Sunday. I watched them finish the sweep of the Nationals. We were right behind the dugout of the Nationals. It was great seats.
Wow,
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Terens, Homer.
we can get into
Blanco
that.
got a hit. We can get into that later. Blanco got a hit. But let's start with you, because I know you just came off a great weekend of NBA fun and history and festivities. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your weekend in Massachusetts?
Yeah, probably good for us to start here too, Phil. I feel like ever since the draft, we haven't had a ton to talk about in net world. It's been a pretty stable offseason, which is a positive at the end of the day, I think, in net world. But yeah, no, I had an incredible weekend, a life-changing weekend, if you would say, Phil, down in Springfield, Massachusetts, and in Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun Resort and Casino. We had our Hall of Fame weekend festivities. It was absolutely incredible. It was the 2026 Hall of Fame basketball inductees. It was over the Friday to Saturday span with ceremonies in Mohegan Sun on Friday and then in Springfield on Saturday. Surreal would be the word I would use, Phil. I felt like that was the word I was using most frequently throughout the weekend, especially someone like me. I know you know how much I love basketball specifically. It really is the sport that I think has always just uniquely been drawn to me, and I just was so in La La Land and in Dreamland the entire weekend. It was so bizarre.
Yeah.
One of the most bizarre things, aside from people, like just scenery, was walking in that hall on the Saturday in Springfield for the ceremony on Saturday. I've seen that room so many times. Like that's the crying Jordan meme room. That's every Hall of Fame speech or ceremony I've seen has happened in that room. So there is definitely it was surreal to be there. It doesn't feel like a real place that exists in America. It feels like almost an otherworldly kind of place.
Did you see the room where they have all the old baskets with the peach basket?
Yeah, have you been?
All that. I've been one time when I was a little kid, and I haven't been back since, which sucks because it's not that far of a drive. But
It's yeah, I mean it's
gotta
like
go
four.
again.
It's like 3:45, 4 hours.
All right, so maybe it's a little bit of a drive. But
And it's not like
it's not terrible. We're still in the court. Like the football Hall of Fame's in Ohio. I've never been there. It's
that's Canton.
that's like really far.
Yeah, there's a picture of our coworkers from Yes there. I don't know if you've seen that.
I think I have seen that. Yeah.
It's a very funny picture. We love our boss.
funny-
we're not going to
funny
dox. We're not going to dox him or her, but
No,
we love
no
him.
need.
Um,
No
and him or her is the best. But yeah, no, I don't think it's like. Have you been to Cooperstown?
I've been to Cooperstown four times, I think. Three or
Like,
four
and
times.
you were how old were you the last time?
I
you
went. I went recently. Like I was like, "Yo, Dad, we have to go back." 'Cause
So
we
the
have to go.
actual museum at Springfield isn't like it's nice and there's a lot to look at and things like that, but it's not huge and it's not somewhere you could spend like multiple days necessarily.
Yeah, I
Or,
think it's in a strip mall. No, it's like on a
like kinda,
like
yeah.
off-
It's
right off the
connected to
highway?
a bunch of other it's connected to a bunch of other like strip mall like businesses. But I think they're all connected to the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
But anyway, so it's not huge, but the stuff in there is really cool. I think the coolest artifact I saw was they had the piece of the floor from Utah, the left elbow from where Jordan took the shot in '98.
Wow.
That's like pretty cool. I was in my head, I'm like, this should just be in like a billionaire's living room or something. Under capitalist law, like this shouldn't just be out for the public to see necessarily.
The museum's got to take something back, right?
That's and I think from a jersey perspective and sneaker, like basically an equipment perspective, they do a good job. But I think Cooperstown has just like a different motion. Not to like, it just has nothing
Well,
to do.
Cooperstown is just built around. It's like a whole little mini town built around baseball, which I
But
think
I'm not
is
even
so
saying that like one's better or necessarily.
yeah.
They have when I say they have motion, I mean like if something crazy happens in baseball, it's just theirs. Like there's no like deliberation on does it go for sale, like does this go to Topps for a card? Like this is like Cooperstown has this. And I think that that's like I don't know if a sports museum will ever have that sort of like that aura.
I think they have the original OMG sign from 2024 in there.
That's like,
little
how is that
document.
not in, John Stewart's house or something? You know what I mean? But
So
nonetheless,
what'd you think of your dad, he got the Kurt Gowdy Award, right?
yeah, you got the Kurt Gowdy Award. The Kurt Gowdy Award split into multiple different media sectors, broadcasting, print, a multitude of others. I think there's 3 total. He got in along with a few others, one of them being Mike Fratello, the czar, who worked for Yes Network for a long time, did color on Nets basketball for a long time. Net fans definitely are familiar with the czar. Had great years with Iron Eagle. I think maybe worked a little bit with Marv Albert as well when he was doing stuff with the Nets, but it was incredible. In the same vein, we talked about the museum. You look at all the inductees there. It's so incredible. Even going in the actual Kurt Gowdy sector of the museum and looking at all those old winners and old names, it's pretty incredible to see. And it was all surreal. The most surreal part was obviously the ceremonies, but actually seeing my dad a part of the history tangibly, like on the wall in the Hall of Fame, that's like it didn't feel real. I don't know when that'll feel real, to be honest with you.
I mean, I just feel like there's no other place for him to be. I just think of all the great Nets moments that have been in history. Not that there's been like a ton of them, but there's been great ones. And I think your dad has been the voice through it all, alongside Ian and alongside Ryan Rucco, alongside those guys. The Nets have a great broadcasting team.
Capper, the Capper, Tim Capper.
Yeah, I mean, what is that? 2,500 straight games or whatever.
He's
like
he's a little over 2,000, I think, but I don't think he's stopping anytime soon necessarily.
No, I mean, we have a great group of people that guide us through these games, and I think we are extremely lucky being in the New York area and being able to tap into that. So, congratulations to Senior on his award that he received, the Kurt Gowdy Award. Watching you on TV was a lot of fun. Seeing you on the Instagram posts in the background were always pretty funny to see.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, it was.
I'll brag about him a little more. I have this is back here too.
Yeah.
This is This is Sportscaster of the Year in the National Sports Media Association. This was 2026. I think he just got this recently.
Look at that, June 29th. Look at that.
Yeah, it was relatively recently as well. I don't like to brag too much, but if it's about my dad, I will.
There we go.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, so we have this back here as well. And yeah, he's got his Value of the Games award back here as well. That was given to him at a NBA meetings conference in Miami a bunch of years ago. One guy in the league, whether that's someone that works in an organization or whatever have you, they get an award in the league, one person, and it's somebody embodies what they want to be the morals and ethics of the game. So that is back there as well. But yeah, it was incredible. On the ceremonies, just to wrap up the whole Hall of Fame thing, just to be around all the Hall of Famers, and to rub shoulders with people that I've thought about as like mythical figures as opposed to like people is pretty insane and ridiculous. I always talk about kind of the phenomenon of growing up in being obsessed with sports as opposed to like superheroes or Pokemon or things like that. Did you have that?
Well, when I was growing up, I was a huge superhero kid, and then at some point I just switched, and I remember that switch in like 2012, 2011 World Series, 2012 Super Bowl, and then from then on out it was sports.
Yeah, and well, you're like 7. I feel like that's probably around the time like when you tangibly sort of get a feel for like the world. Like
I think I had a feel like every day I was waking up and I was like, all right, this is a new day.
Right, and sports are on.
Sports were on every day, live and in the flesh.
That was how I felt when we were in that hall. We were in one room that was incredible at the ceremony where it was just family and Hall of Famers, like family of Hall of Famers and Hall of Famers allowed in the room. So me and my dad basically just took me around and was like, do your thing, because he wanted that moment. I even think more for me than himself. Even though obviously he should have taken advantage of it. We missed
I'm sure he did, though. I'm sure he did.
We missed a cocktail party thing with freaking Larry David there, by the way.
Oh, really?
That was a fumble. That's like kind of on me. That was my bad.
That's all right. He may have tripped you.
But my dad had a whole story about him as well, involving Sean Williams. He used to play for the Nets. That's a different story for a different day. But just being in those rooms, tracking back on what I just said, like meeting Roy Williams was like literally meeting Professor X if he was like a real person. Like if Professor X was in a room, the comic book character, like that was how it felt meeting Roy Williams. And Coach John Calipari has a semi-familiarity with my father coaching the Nets in the late 90s. He is the coolest guy. Can't say enough good things about him. Candace Parker can't say enough good things about. She was just the sweetest and nicest person as we were there as well.
Awesome.
And yeah, it was really cool. At one point, Phil, this is the last thing I'll say about the Hall of Fame because I just thought this really summed up the whole event. I was talking about how I wish I could bottle up the college basketball coaching talent that was in an elevator I was in, because I got in an elevator in the lobby. Like I walk in the elevator, Mark Few is standing there, who has been the coach at Gonzaga the last 30 years, USA basketball. If you know Gonzaga basketball, that is because of Mark Few. Anyway, he gets off the elevator. I'm too frazzled to press the button, so it just immediately goes down again. And then when it goes down to the lobby, opening up the elevator doors, Dawn Staley walks in, who, for all intents and purposes, in separate conversations that have nothing to do with this, I've said should be the first woman to coach an NBA team. Like I've made that claim, and unironically and
I don't know,
really unrelated to this conversation.
Yeah, I don't know if the NBA guys can handle that. I'll be honest with you.
I like that. I like that take. It's a very woke Phil. But I said if I could bottle up all the college basketball talent from a coaching perspective in this elevator, I could start a military basically. But nonetheless, I was gonna get the ring. I feel like it's a little too much. My dad was dripped out in chrome hearts. It was a fantastic event.
Chrome.
Happy for not only my dad but my mom. A similar kin to the whole weekend of how much she put together and how much work she did. It's a small amalgamation of how much she does all the time. So it was cool to just see them both kind of get their love and kind of respect and quote unquote flowers from everyone. It was very cool.
Yeah, well, your dad is going to have to take us all through a lot of Nets moments this season. So I think maybe we should turn to a little bit what the roster looks like.
I like how you
right
did that,
now.
Phil. I like how you did that, Phil.
You like that?
Mike Brown Jr. Is Mike Kell his real first name, Phil?
He's got something else, right?
He does. So, on a big shot this year, I'm assuming in the first week of the season, because he's an absolute
Are we going to give this away?
superstar.
Wait. Are we going to give this away right now?
It's public. It's on Google.
Okay. All right.
First week of the season, maybe first game, because he's just a born superstar. When Mike Cale Brown hits a big shot, my father on radio has to say his full legal name. Christopher Michael Brown Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he shares a name with both of us, and yes, that makes
right.
me irrationally excited. You don't really care.
It'd be like you hit the big shot.
That's you see, and then
I have to make sure I get him before he does that. We gotta stop that from happening.
The head of PR, Aaron Harris, was there this weekend. Has been the head of PR for a long time. Has worked for the Nets for as long as my dad has. I think he either knew or he didn't know, but I made it a whole point to tell him that that's actually his first name.
Good. You guys share blood, basically.
Yes, but anyway, enough of the silly nonsense. You're right. We're heading toward the wire here. It's kind of game time for the Nets. We're around a month from training camp. Phil, where's your general kind of perspective, not only on just the roster, but the organization as a whole heading into next season? Where's your optimism?
Well, I think we talked about this a little bit in the first couple of shows, is that this is a who's year in Nets basketball. This is bringing in veteran players like Julius Randle. We're keeping Michael Porter Jr. around.
Are we going to be combining the two of them this season? I saw how you did that.
Maybe that's something easy. Hopefully nobody gets messed up with that later on. But it's a who's who for sure. And I think a lot of young guys. You got a team that you can build around with young players. You got two veteran guys that are going to be on expiring contracts soon. Michael Porter Jr. this season, and then Julius Randle after next season. So we're going to see what happens there. The big news coming out of Nets world right now is that Michael Porter Jr. has not received an extension. I believe last Tuesday was the deadline to extend him while also being able to trade him in the upcoming season. So now, if it's an extension, it's going to be one that limits him from being traded throughout the year, which is something that could be in play depending on where the Nets are in the standings come February and late January. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that we have to think about in terms of his place on this roster moving forward, because he is probably the best player on the team right now. But, I mean, it's exciting to look at the young guys, how he fits with the young guys, if he can kind of go back into that Denver role, if these guys get bigger, more of a role player, shooter, wing, perimeter three-point guy. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. But, I mean, what do you think about the current state?
Yeah, I mean, I think Michael has maybe the most interesting narrative right now. As you said, I think it's the biggest story of the offseason. To me, how they moved, especially toward the deadline last year, it didn't seem like they were holding on or keeping Michael due to seeing him as a big part of their future or making the decision hey, we're keeping this guy. It felt more as if they didn't find the right move and they're sort of just waiting on it. That decision, and if that's the right decision, I don't think it can be debated that this guy is or isn't a part of their future. I really don't think he is necessarily. I think similarly to Julius, not even in a negative way, they're short-term fixes or short-term options for Jordi Fernandez and Sean Marks right now. I don't really think you can see it any other way. Obviously, 6 first-round picks the last 2 years. You get to a problem with almost too many guys at a certain point. I told you this at the beginning of the offseason. I was doing a 2K rebuild on my GM with the Nets, and heading into this current offseason we're in, even doing it on there, which I know is I have self-awareness, it's stupid, but it actually does. It's the real salaries, it's the real cap. I was having trouble signing all the guys I wanted to. I had to get rid of Zaire Williams in the same way that Sean Marks did in real life. You think of those deals as easier, things that maybe get criticized on Twitter, but then you have to do it on 2K, and you're like, oh wait, he actually had to do that.
I mean, you see what's happening in Oklahoma, right? The Thunder have had to move off so many guys. Lou Dort, they had to move off, a guy that we thought was maybe a championship, part of the core for the championship team that they just had. I mean, they're just with the second apron now and stuff like that, obviously the Nets are at a point where we don't know who's good, and I think Zaire Williams' clock was just it wasn't his fault. The clock just didn't line up with how good the team was going to be in a certain amount of time. So I think for a guy like Porter, he's an established veteran in the NBA. I think the Nets are just too wrapped up in the potential growth of this roster to really give him stability for the future. I think a 2-year extension may be something that could be in play for him if they want to keep him around. I think the guys like him. I think he's a good locker room presence. But, I mean, just to tie up $40 to $50 million in one guy, that's only going to – I mean, not only, but you know where his ceiling's at, I think, as a player. It doesn't seem like it makes much sense for the team. And I also think that bringing in Julius Randle was something that kind of gave them a backup to this Michael Porter Jr. thing, right? Like,
very true.
Porter and Randle, the fit is something that's always kind of raised questions between not only people in the Nets cycle, but people in the NBA cycle in general. So I think having him and the two of them play together this year is going to be interesting. But then next year, if they want to move off Michael Porter Jr., you kind of have another Michael Porter Jr. and a Julius Randle. You know what I'm saying? Like a same kind of player, a veteran guy who's going to get you maybe 19 to 23 points a game, can establish like a core scorer that's going to be able to kind of centralize the offense around and then let the other guys get better as he is taking a lot of the shots and taking a lot of having the offense run through him. So, I mean, we saw that last year. We're going to see that maybe in the future. If they move off Porter, Randle will be a guy that can fill into that veteran Porter role, and then hopefully the next guys will get better, and we'll have all-stars to talk about, and more guys we can bring in, especially on an expiring contract. It becomes easier to sign free agents in the offseason. So, you look to guys that are young and up-and-coming guys that want to play in New York, that can play in Brooklyn, like we saw with Kyrie and KD a few years ago. So, yeah.
And I don't even know if it's necessarily strictly for the possibility of signing future free agents, but I think just the general flexibility is the most important thing to Brooklyn right now. If you're thinking about priorities from a roster construction perspective, that flexibility seems to be the most important thing. And that even is akin to when you talk about those short-term deals. They just need to stay in short-term markets. Even the way you're talking about it, Phil, I think the two things are done so far apart that they aren't thought about in tandem. But when you think about them in tandem, first of all, they make sense from how me and you think about this roster going forward. But also, I think that they are very telling of where this roster is going. They don't sign MPJ to the extension at the end of the offseason. It's now the third week of August. MPJ still hasn't received a new contract. Day'Ron Sharpe and Josh Minot get re-upped for 2 years in the beginning of July. Like, that, to me, says a lot. Those two things, that one isn't necessarily a priority, or actually maybe the opposite. It's a priority not to get it done. And then on the other side, it was the number one thing to get done. I mean, we filmed something, Phil, at Michael Brown and Joshua Jefferson and Tyler Bilodeau's Welcome to Brooklyn. Those deals were done the day before that. Michael Brown didn't even have a Brooklyn Net jersey in his hands, and Day'Ron Sharpe and Josh Minot were on deals already, guaranteed for at least 2 years. Both deals that go past Michael Porter Jr. So I think, and also to me, that's how I would have done this if I was Sean Marks. I mean, I don't want to get into too much of the negative with Michael Porter Jr. because I don't think he deserves it. But I think when you compare it to Josh and Day'Ron, that to me is where I think I want the organization going, as opposed to a long-term Michael Porter Jr. move.
I think that's another reason why they maybe have been hesitant to do it as well, because they have guys like Minot and Josh Clowney that are going to step up and fill into these roles that Michael Porter Jr. has played his whole career. So I think they're building in guys that are playing different roles on the court, that are young, that are going to grow and get better. So I think just having those guys locked up, just because they're a little younger and a little bit cheaper, if you have guys exploding on cheaper contracts, it just makes the whole thing so much easier. I think just investing in the future was really important for Brooklyn, and I think they made that clear in the beginning of the offseason, and they kind of just didn't have the MPJ stuff as a priority. And I think, from what we know and what we've learned, I think that's okay.
And I want to briefly, because we're going to probably head off the net stuff here. We have one final thing to talk Nets that is more of a comedic take on it. But I wanted to look at just the roster and kind of what the depth of this team looks like going into next season. I think it's a lot deeper of a roster than people give it credit for. That starting five seems to be relatively pronounced right now. It's going to be Michael and Yegor, that dynamic backcourt with MPJ, Randle, and Sharpe. That seems to be the solidified starting five right now. It would be a real surprise if anything shakes up there. And then under that, I mean, you could say these guys aren't going to blossom and they all stink. I'm going to disagree with you and say you're wrong. The next five, the second units, Ben Surratt, Drake Powell, Keon Ellis, Noah Clowney, and Wagner. That's a pretty good second five.
What about Traore? We're not giving him love.
And then you look at the third unit is the second and third unit are interchangeable. I'm not even saying one is better than the other, but that's one unit. And then Traore, Mann, Minot, Jefferson, and Wolf is the other. And a guy like Tyler Bilodeau isn't even in that 15. There's other guys. Like that's a deep roster to me. Everyone's saying they're going to be a bottom 5 team in the league. That's the most talented bottom 5 team in the league I've ever seen.
It's got to be. Your prediction is based off potential, which I like, and I see the optimism.
Fair.
And I obviously we've watched the games together, so we see what these players are able to do, and we see their pacing and their skill, and we see the things that we like. But I think you kind of have to realize that this is really based off potential. So I mean, come to the real speed of the game.
Wagner, Ellis, Randall, Minot, Sharp, those 5 aren't really hypothetical or potential. Those are like...
That's true. I think the top 7 guys are guys that have proved that they can be substantial players in the NBA, that they can hold their own.
I think that's where people talked about them not making the big move this offseason. You make the Ellis and Wagner moves. Adds a whole dimension and element to your team that's just different.
Yeah.
I think the rotation is something to look at, and the depth of this net team is a narrative I'd like to follow throughout the year. Are they as deep as we think they are now, or as I think they are now, or is it as you're saying maybe we're
can they make that jump?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's what's going to be important to us to see. Can those guys have shown that they got better on the court?
To talk about the end of our net segment, I'm going to pull up this Reddit thread I'm currently looking at from 20 days ago. So is Cam Thomas done for? ? And it has 65 upvotes, 139 comments, and a retweet. And there is just a lot of deliberation in the comments. I see a lot of New Jersey Net icons, which is a whole Cam Thomas New Jersey Net fans is a whole denomination in itself. But I think that's a decent place to start, Phil. What is your current impression of the former Brooklyn Net guard, Cam Thomas? Is he Cameron? I don't think he's Cameron.
I don't know. What happened to Cam Thomas, right?
That was what that's what you texted a week ago when we were talking about maybe
when we were talking about show ideas. What happened to Cam Thomas in all caps? It's like a murder mystery.
Yeah.
I think Cam Thomas was a guy that was truly a pure scorer. Coming out of college, he had averaged, I think, the most points in Division I or something like that, playing for LSU. And my buddies tell me about how good he was and how he had been good since high school. But Cam Thomas was a guy that I don't really think was built for the NBA. He obviously, it's not easy to score 24 points a game in a season, which he did over 25 games a couple of years ago. It's not easy to score 45 points in a game, which he did, I think, multiple times. But I mean, when it comes down to it, basketball is a team game. He averaged under 3 assists, under 3 rebounds. I have a note here in my notes. He was like Russell Westbrook without all the really good qualities, like the explosiveness at the rim, the passing.
How was he like Russell Westbrook? Like, what was the part?
Because he was able to score. He just was taking shots with like nobody's business. Like he was dominating, ball dominant guy. But I think when you look towards the end of his Nets career, the only thing that pops up in my head is just how sad he looked all the time. He was angry.
One of the worst body language guys of all
really
time.
Terrible. And I think about that clip where he got the ball for a deep 3 that he shot before at the end of the shot clock, and he passed it out because he didn't want to mess up his field goal percentage. And I think that's a thing that a lot of guys do now. But, I mean, it just felt like he wanted to wear his headphones and listen to Youngboy and then play the game, not do much, and then put his headphones back on and listen to NBA Youngboy again. Like we know, NBA Youngboy is his favorite artist. Not hating on that, big Youngboy guy, but I mean, it felt like he didn't have a place in the modern NBA, and it sucks to see him kind of fall off, especially where he was with Milwaukee last year. They brought him in like they were trying to. It was maybe like a way to woo Giannis. I don't know how, but I mean, I don't think it really worked out that way.
I don't know if it was to woo. He was on like waivers.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a trade,
Yeah. But like, we're in, like you said, we're 2 weeks in August, and he is still not signed to a team.
And to your point about how he wants to have headphones on, listen to Youngboy, not talk to anybody, score, put them back on, whatever. If you're playing Julian Newman and you're in like a 48-person one-on-one basketball extravaganza that's put on by like House of Highlights or something, and like you're gonna dominate. Like, you're gonna be the best person. It's not even close. Like, you are literally made for that. But with that said, you said a guy like Cam Thomas isn't made for the NBA. I kind of disagree. I don't like I agree, but I think taking that generally, I know I can point at guys right now in the NBA that are successful, and are like Cam Thomas. I think the part with Cam Thomas that is, working against him or leads to his failure is the reason why he's not on a roster right now, is the reason why he's not on a contract that is pretty, high right now. He could be on a good deal right now. It's fundamentally due to a lack of self-awareness. I think that is Cam Thomas's lack of self-awareness tracks back to everything going wrong with him currently right now. I think MPJ, Michael Porter Jr., actually spoke about this pretty eloquently on a podcast this summer. But I think when hearing him talk about it, it was really eye-opening because there's a lot of things I agree with when thinking of Cam Thomas. But to hear a teammate, a guy who really was in the nitty-gritty, the day in, day out, say it on his behalf and say it publicly without being afraid of, Cam seeing it or being offended by it, that really opened my eyes to how much self-sabotage Cam Thomas has done to him and his brand and his career over the last 2 or 3 years. And it's nobody else's fault. It's just circumstances. Game just doesn't no. It's Cam's fault, in my opinion.
It felt like he was just going against the grain. Everything you hear about Jordi Fernandez from inner basketball circles is that how good of a coach he is and how good the coaching staff in Brooklyn kind of treats their players and is focused on development and getting better. But it just never seemed like he was really bought into that, and it never really felt like him and Jordi had a good relationship. And I think when everybody's on board with one guy and you're not, it's kind of hard to really grow that way, and it's kind of hard to be a part of a team that way. And I think in outer circles in the NBA, well, he's going to come here and he's not going to like me when we've built something good. Like, if you want to be a part of a contender, that means that the coach is somebody that has had success and has the guys behind him.
And with Jordi, I don't even know if it's like they had a bad relationship or went bad. Like, it might just be lack thereof. Like, I don't know, with a guy like Cam, he might be like that unsocial where it's like, in my head, how much are they doing with each other to gain a disdain? You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, there probably wasn't a bad relationship, but I'm thinking they weren't friends. And I guess
if I was Jordi, I would resent him for his which is a tough, because you don't want to resent someone for what they're doing with their life. That's a slippery slope, I think, in life. But as his coach, I would resent the fact that he was so talented and has the potential to be so useful in the NBA and just decides not to be.
I mean, being a coach, the most important part about being a coach in my eyes, aside from the X's and O's, is handling personalities. And I think at some point you have to cut your losses. If you can't reach this guy, even though it's not you don't have to be best friends with him, but if you can't reach him and talk to him and have conversations and make him feel like he wants to be there and be happy, I mean, there's just not much you can do other than what they did, which was put him on waivers and send him off to Milwaukee. I mean,
there's better and worse versions of Cam Thomas, Phil. I think the peak version of Cam Thomas is Peyton Pritchard. You're going to be the six-man scorer on a championship team, and then now through time, you're now the starter and a kind of core piece of an organization.
I like that point.
And then you can go the other way, Phil. I'm not sure this is in your Big East basketball bag. You could be Miles Powell, who is Miles Powell was virtually the exact same thing, but wasn't as good as Cam and never got to the level that Cam played in the NBA. Why?
Because my brother was wearing his Miles Powell jersey around the house the other day. So.
That's Steve. And I mean, I have a Miles Powell flag or towel up in my room. If you're from New Jersey or even the surrounding areas, as you are, he was a defining figure in college basketball. Anyway, that guy was talented enough to be an NBA player and do things in the NBA. Lack of self-awareness and, a similar play style to Cam. He ended up taking Tijuana, ended up taking a major long-term deal. They ended up getting paid pretty well, but you just, you don't really do anything in the NBA. So anyway,
playing basketball and being in the NBA are two different animals. So.
I completely agree. But nonetheless, I think that's enough for our NBA talk. I would like to transition you, Phil. I teased it briefly earlier in the episode. The New York Mets vibes have gone significantly up. The
Chris,
brother,
what is going on?
The Unholy Trinity tandem brother to the Brooklyn Nets, the New York Mets have had, in only Mets fashion, a turbulent, roller coaster season that maybe is hitting its highest point right now. People are always like, I just saw this on Twitter, and I would like to open with this. I just saw somebody say they were talking about just how good this bullpen has been, and just the bullpen in general, and closing out the game last night. Senga's been really good, but who closed out the game last night?
Duarte.
Duarte's been really good in the last 5 or so, maybe 7. Someone said on Twitter, "Oh, he's penciling himself into the opening day roster next year." Are we sure he's not penciling himself into a playoff roster? Are we positive? Phil? Are we positive?
I mean, these guys, the team has been saying recently is that, they're just going out there and playing, right? All the pressure is off of them, and it's on the rest of the teams. I mean, San Diego's coming in here. They need to win some games to stay in the playoff picture, to fight off the Phillies and get into that second wild card spot. The Nationals came in here with their season, it seems like on life support, and they got swept by the New York Mets. So I just want to say, last episode I said maybe they'll sell and they'll get better because they seem to be doing things opposite of what they need to be doing every single year, and that seems to be exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and I it's a pressure thing, Phil. I think a lot of it's mental, and the way you just kind of talked about it, I think whether it's expectations or how this roster is constructed, there was a lot of pressure and unneeded pressure on this organization. Even a guy like Bo Bichette, 2 hits last night, late on both of them, but that's a whole separate conversation.
The whole Bo Bichette thing.
He drives me. But he's gotten to a place where he's a substantial baseball player. I think Simeon has gotten more and more love from Mets world over the last couple months, and rightfully so. I think whether it's the bats or the bullpen, even the starting pitching, I think everywhere the Mets are now playing in a relaxed and talented place. I think the place that Stearns and Mendoza thought this team would be in April.
I mean, it's hard, like we talk about just being a part of a group of guys that are coming in, the postseason aspirations, World Series aspirations on the mind when the season starts. Like, it's hard. It's hard to really follow through on that. And I think you put together a bunch of guys that had never met each other this year as an MLB The Show roster, and they kind of failed. Not kind of failed. They failed. They lost 12 in a row. And I was looking at, if they had won 12 in a row, they'd be at the same record of the Padres right now, going into September playing meaningful games.
And I was just going to say, to put Taylor in this lineup, Soto in this lineup, like that's a really freaking good lineup.
To say this season obviously was based a lot on mismanagement, but I mean injuries and everything, it kind of like went away and got away from them in a way that they were able. Like Lindor and Soto have only played like 20 games together this season. Like it's not like this is the team that it's going to be moving forward. But I mean, like in August, let's look at this. I mean, Carson Bench, who's been absolutely unbelievable.
And maybe shelve the Soto Lindor stuff for a second because I wanted to ask you about that in a minute. But yeah, continue on Bench.
Okay, I got you. So in August, the OPSs, right? Carson Bench, 953 OPS in August. Lindor, 872 OPS in August. Jared Young, the Japanese slugger who came from Japan a few years ago, played for the Mets last year with a cup of coffee every now and then. This year, in August, 940 OPS. Luis Torrens in 21 at-bats in August. A 1,400 OPS.
Phil,
4 home runs in his last
Give the
context.
Games. Give the Unholy Trinity context to this Luis Torrens spell. I know it's sad. I'm sorry. You have to.
The context? Oh. From our trip to the stadium last week?
There's Unholy Trinity lore that is leading to this stretch that Luis Torrens is on, and the Met fans should know about it.
About his jersey?
You're the reason he's playing really well right now. People should know about it. That's what I'm saying.
I'm the reason? Wait, why am I the reason?
Because
you have to explain yourself.
You doubted him in the store.
955 OPS in August.
You doubted him in the store. Give context. We're talking like crazy people right now. People don't understand.
I know. I'm sorry. We went into the team store when we took our trip to Citi Field a couple weeks ago when they played Atlanta and knocked the brakes off them.
It's fantastic in there. I'm sorry.
Unbelievable team store.
Unbelievable. As a guy who can really respect one, my lord.
Levels and levels of jerseys. Tom Seaver, David Wright, about 41 Soto All-Star jerseys. And at the end of the rack, I see a white pinstripe jersey, and on the back it's 13, and the name says Torrens. And I said, there's one Luis Torrens jersey in this whole team store. One Luis Torrens jersey. With Lindor, Bench, everybody, Seaver, everybody. The history.
An omen?
It must have been an omen or something, because since then he has been on a different planet. And I looked at Chris and I said, I may have to buy this. And then obviously I decided against it, and maybe that's what set him off. Maybe if I bought his jersey, he would be shit in the bed right now. But I mean,
like if you buy the jersey, if you bought one online tomorrow, he's gonna hit 120 over his next 30 at bats.
So I had to leave it. It felt like a weird item that was there.
Shout out to Grace McCarron, the daughter of Judy Batista, actually, the NFL analyst. Anyway, that's a separate thing. Me and Grace went to Fordham together. One of, if not the biggest Met fan I know. We did a Met-Yankee game together last year, and Terens was at the bat, and he was catching, and obviously I knew of Alvarez at the time, so I asked her, I'm like, what's up with Terens? Like, Terens is starting, like, where'd he come from and stuff? And she looked at me like I killed her puppy.
Yeah, that's a bad...
She looked at me like I killed her puppy. She goes... He was your AAA catcher last year. Meaning like me as a Yankee fan. Your AAA catcher last year, Luis Terens. Like, what's wrong with you?
That was Carlos Mendoza.
Right.
Paul. He knew what he had.
And from there, I knew there were
across
levels.
The bay.
There was levels to ball knowledge, and Grace kind of showed me those levels. And ever since then, I always think of Grace McCarron when I think of Luis Terens. He is now. Is he sliding Alvarez into the DH spot, or is there enough potential offensively for Alvarez where he just keeps getting that position every day? Like, what's the DH position?
Here's the thing with Francisco Alvarez, to me, is that there was a bit of a conversation around whether or not they should trade him because there was such a premium on right-handed catchers. People needed right-handed catchers.
Maurizio, Beatty, him, and
just everybody. But he was the guy.
Were getting attention.
If people were coming to Stern was going to ask a high asking price, not only because he's young and has some years of team control left with him, but he's just a right-handed catcher, and his OPS is 750. It seems like every year. So we'll see him struggle at times, and we'll get frustrated, but at the end of the year, his OPS is up over 700. Pitchers love throwing to him. He's a guy that can hit for power, not as much as he did when he hit 20 whatever home runs in his first season with the Mets, full season in 2023, but he's a guy that is just sustainable, valuable bat. He had a clutch hit on Saturday when they walked it off against the Nationals. He tied the game in the ninth, something that they hadn't really been able to do over the last year. So, I mean, Francisco Alvarez is just a guy that I think will be the starting catcher for years to come. And they've extended Terens, and I think having that good catchers by committee. I've been doing a lot of fantasy football research recently, so catchers like running backs by committee, catchers by committee. Having the two of them in there, I think, is going to be awesome. I don't think Luis Terens is. He could be in the future, maybe a starting caliber catcher. I think just having both of them is going to be great. But I mean, Terens is on a different planet right now.
Phil, I might get Njigba at the 8th pick in my league. I have my draft tonight. That might be how bizarre the minds are in front of me in the draft. That I might actually get the best player in football at 8.
If he slips to 8, that'd be great. Yeah.
I had another detour. I had such a bad detour that I picked the one that was slightly more related. My friends are so mean and cruel and evil. I'm gonna leave my Njigba Super Bowl jersey in the car, and then if I get the chance to get him, I will then throw it on. Because if I walk in with the Njigba jersey on, he might go like 3. He might literally.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You can't show your hand too early. No, you guys are drafting early. You guys are drafting really early.
I know. Don't get me started, Phil. My dad is.
I've been fighting it.
My dad's a huge fantasy guy. He's got 3 leagues he's very passionate about, and he's not going for like another month or something. Like 3
Why not start after the preseason games? Like, preseason injuries are not a part of fantasy football.
My friends, I literally just got a text drafting Greg Jennings in the first round today. I think this is like a boring, minute, mundane time in the sports schedule. So my friends are like, we need to do the draft right now. And also it's spicy. You know what I mean? You take Saquon at 10, he tears his, it's spicy.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
No.
If we're playing with money on the line, I need to get guys that are going to be ready week 1.
My team last year, I can't believe I lost last year. It was a travesty.
You probably had a roster.
I had a roster.
But,
anyway, nonetheless, let's finish up on the blue and orange brand slightly. I told you I wanted to shelve that Lindor Soto talk slightly, and I wanted to get into it. Narrative on Twitter right now, and I'm gonna take our forefather Evan Roberts' help here, and use him almost as like a human shield. Okay. There's been a narrative that Lindor's playing better right now. Why? Not because he's healthier and the vibes are better and the pressure's off and he's awesome, and he's one of the greatest shortstops to ever play in this city. Not the greatest. Relax over there. And it's not any of that, Phil. It's because Juan Soto isn't playing. He's, not around. He's in the dugout every day. Arguably he's more around Lindor than he ever is. It's because he's not playing. That's why Lindor is better. And Evan Roberts, who I just brought up, is vehemently against this, as am I. I don't think it has anything to do with Soto. And when you finally see Lindor unlock this potential with Soto in the lineup, it's going to be everything Stevie Cohen paid for.
We gotta shelve that. I mean, these guys are hugging every time they see each other. They understand.
Do you think they're overcompensating, Phil? Are they overcompensating?
No, their common language is baseball. They are two Latino players that love baseball, and they are good at baseball, and that's all they need to be able to get along.
Their common language is
best
English.
Friends. Yeah, okay. They've never had to be best friends.
No.
Some of the greatest teams in history have hated each other. It's not the most important thing in the world. You have to be able to play together. And I think the fact that there's still narrative around this makes me so mad. But it also makes me happy because every time I see a video of them hugging and dapping up and laughing with each other, it makes me think like, all right, yeah, fuck you guys. Like, this isn't an issue. This is no issue. Lindor had a good year last year, 30 homers again, like over 800 OPS. Like,
he's the man. He's the man.
I mean, him being with Soto without it's not even a conversation anymore. Stevie Cohen put that to bed when he did his interview with Heyman.
And people make
Lindor
up.
And Soto next year will be together, and they will play well, and we'll be back in it, and it'll be good. But
people
these
get
guys
mad.
are two of the great players in the game.
People get mad specifically at Lindor for narratives that they create. Like, it'll be like, oh, Lindor just doesn't play enough. He hasn't played less than 150 games in a season in like half a decade. Like, people will like make up narratives, maybe from other players. They'll tie him to things that are just completely untrue and not in reality, and then that's how they judge him. It's like the most ignorant kind of way to go about looking at players.
I mean, he's been insane this month. He's swinging the bat well. He looks confident. He's got that confident 2022 stance. I mean, he's a great player, and he will retire a Met as long as he stays true to his no trade clause. I mean, he is basically got as much power as any GM, and unless they walk him in and they say, we're going to make your life horrible if you don't accept a trade, which probably isn't legal, he's going to be here for the rest of his career, and I won't have a future without him. But yeah, I mean, I don't play into that. I mean, they seem to be getting along a lot better now than they did before, Soto and him. Soto, obviously one of the great players in probably history, so I'm excited to see them finally be full-fledged together, 2-3 years under the belt. Yeah, and hopefully Soto will be back in September, and they can play some good baseball, and it'll be fun to watch.
And for a team in the place that the Mets are right now, I think that amount of optimism is really all you can ask for. Just feeling like in the future your team can be that good. I think that can kind of keep Met fans' engines running at least until the end of this season.
I mean, look at Bichette. I mean, hopefully $43 million next year. Hopefully he buys in.
Is Vientos cooked?
I don't know. I mean, he's got more homers than Jared Young, but Jared Young looks good right now. So we'll see what happens.
Where does Vientos play? Play first. Can he learn how to play first base? He
played first, but he's not very good at it. He's running himself out of leash.
Permanently? Can he get better?
I don't know. I mean, maybe.
That's like I feel like he could literally give himself a place in the lineup every day if he was just kind of good at first base.
I mean, he can't hit either. I mean, 2024, 27 home runs. He was insane. He had a great postseason run.
I was about to say the playoffs is where you.
And then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, like I proved myself. Now I don't have to be good at it.
Unironically, people after 24 were like Cooperstown. Unironically.
Dude, I mean, Jeff Passan was like, he's going to be the third baseman for years to come. And then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, this is a crazy fall off. But
and also, whatever. If you want to, if any Met fan complains to you about getting rid of Nimmo or any of those moves, and then they watch how that outfield played defensively last night, what argument are you making?
They needed some space. I mean, yeah.
Benj is
Soto
a
comes
freaking
back.
superstar.
Soto, Ewing, Benj is unbelievable. Last night we saw the throws. I tweeted about it.
The Ewing throw might have been the best one. That one was insane.
He is must-see TV. That was a close play at the plate, too. It was great. I just think, like, next year, if you have Ewing, Benj, Soto, Lindor, Bichette,
Simeon. someone at first base.
Whatever. I don't even care about that.
Torrens, Alvarez.
Those 5 guys, like, you got Benj hitting lefty, Ewing hitting lefty, Lindor can switch, Soto lefty,
You could take
Bichette
over
righty.
country.
Like, you got, like, that's a strong top 5 guys, and I think they'll work out whatever with their new manager. But that's a 5 that I want to have going into any season.
That's one of the best top 5s of first 5 of a lineup in the league.
It could be. I mean, we've seen what happens with regression and stuff. I think Benj is a poised young man, and I think he's going to be good.
I think there's a better chance of me and you playing an inning for an MLB roster than Benj regressing into what.
But that's the thing. You thought it was impossible for Vientos to fall off.
No.
So I think the biggest take. The point of this,
he's different than those guys, dude. You know he is.
The point of this whole podcast is to really get a good look at what it's like to follow teams where the unthinkable happens in terms of whether it's good or bad.
Correct.
So stay floating, stay treading water, keep your head above water, breathe, watch it happen, accept the outcome.
Stay present.
It'll be okay. You can't make him be a Hall of Fame outfielder 4 months into his career. He'll finish September strong. He'll get stronger next year. He'll get bigger. We'll come in and we'll be good.
Did you see your favorite first baseman's clutch homer and extras yesterday?
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. He's been unbelievable. Another guy I want to talk about.
He made the error in the ninth for them to tie the game.
Oh, Rice? I thought we were talking about Pete.
No, I'm talking about Rice.
Ben
I'm talking
Rice,
about your
man.
favorite first baseman.
I'm off Ben Rice.
No, you're not.
He strikes out. two.
Someone posted the Cam Newton, Keon Coleman clip, and then he hit the 2-run home run to win the game like 20 minutes later. Like cookies? Like we talking about cookies.
Yeah. We gotta get that OPS over 600 from since the All-Star break. Then
all right. What was it before?
He strikes out. He strikes out every game. He's like sometimes it's like I'm watching Ronnie Mauricio up there sometimes.
But you're not.
I'm not.
He has like 30 home runs.
He's got a lot of home. He's a good player. No.
What are you talking about?
At the end of the season, his body of work will be
He looks like
another
Mauricio.
guy who's
he has 30 home runs.
Okay.
Does Mauricio have 30 career home runs?
No, but what I'm saying is that whenever a guy has him at 2 strikes, it's a cheap little change-up slider into the dirt, and he's fucking swinging for the fences, and it's over for him.
If the Yankees are in a 3-ball count, the pitcher automatically gets the 2 strikes. It's like how it works. Like you're automatically.
It's insane watching them. But I just want to segue to this. Another guy that's been insane to watch in the MLB this year is freaking Pete Crow Armstrong. And yesterday he had a leadoff home run and he had a walk-off home run in the 10th. And it was the first day where I've been like, damn, I wish we never made that trade.
Well, you made a whole argument in the last show that it was actually a good trade. You're trying to paint it in a light where it isn't like the worst trade ever, which it is.
Just like seeing how Benj and Ewing came up for them yesterday in the outfield, and then like Benj being a great like.
Can you imagine? You don't even have to spend the $700 million. Like it's just the two. It's just Ewing and Benj and Crow Armstrong as your outfield.
Yeah, I mean that would have been insane. So yesterday was the first day. If anybody's keeping tabs on this, yesterday was the first day I really was like, damn.
Maybe Benj won't curse out a woman like he will. Maybe he's like a better guy.
Maybe.
That was a little weird. And also, I don't think a player has ever had as many embarrassing and ridiculously impressive highlights in a season as Crow Armstrong has. There's like 10 plays this season where Crow Armstrong looks like he shouldn't be playing in the bigs, and then 10 plays where it's like, is he the greatest outfielder ever?
I think he's solidifying himself in the MVP. I mean, him and Shohei went band for band yesterday. Shohei had 2 home runs. I think he was 3 for 5. Pete had the walk-off home run. So, I mean, that's going to be fun to watch in September, just as a fan of the game.
Something less fun to watch, but just as important is that Scooball deal that might get signed in the next month or two, too, because they're going to try and do it before next season and before new rules are put in place. So to see,
I'm hearing that the Mets and the Dodgers are the only guys that are really going to vie for him. So
the Mets would be I don't know. I'd be curious to see if they feel almost slightly more hesitant after the Kyle Tucker deal, just because they spent so much money and he's been so terrible.
No, I mean, you have to kind of look at how you're spending your money. Looking back at how he was when he first came to the Mets, I shouldn't be surprised. But, I mean, he has had the elbow injury, all that stuff. Maybe he'll settle in the next couple of years, but that is definitely surprising. I think with Tucker, and I think with the new CBA, and I think I don't think there'll ever be a salary cap, but you have to look at how you're spending this money. I think Tucker was a guy that at the time I wanted just because there was kind of that hole in the outfield. Obviously, that was a good decision that Stearns made or that he made to go to the Dodgers because it hasn't really worked out for him. But a guy like Skubal is a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. You know, he's not at the same level as Kyle Tucker. And I think Kyle Tucker was a product of his environment, especially his free agent environment, just in terms of spaces and slots for teams that needed a guy to be in the outfield. So,
and the writing was on the wall. Like, you didn't have a great year in Chicago necessarily.
Yeah, I mean,
compare him to Belly.
Skubal,
Belly kind of set Wrigley on fire the time he was there.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But I think Skubal is a guy that it would be nice if he was a Met just because they need a guy at the front of the rotation. I don't want to grossly overpay for him. I don't want to get into the $500 million starting pitcher range. So hopefully they can see through that. But, I mean, the Mets need a starter and a front-end guy like Skubal.
I was about to say, and this could officially be the end of the baseball talk. McLean, that guy is the most miscellaneous baseball player I have ever seen in my life.
Weird. He's weird. Seven straight guys reached base last night, and none of them scored. Or
by the pitch, he's either not even by the at bat. By the pitch, he's either like Alex Manoah or like Greg Maddux.
He's wild. He's like an airbender, really.
Yeah, his cutter and slider. A few times his cutter and slider look like a wiffle ball.
They just move. He's got these crazy strong Oklahoma hands, and he just snaps the ball, and it just sometimes he has no control over it, and it gets pieced up or it's impossible to hit. So he's got to figure out how to reel that in a little bit.
When hitters are on the same side of the plate as him, and he's throwing that cutter in, kind of unhittable.
Yeah,
it's like Mario.
That's got. I mean, we're looking at a young starting rotation right now. Thornton's going to go tonight. He's been great. Him and Scott have been good, but they got to work on when they're late in games, or even McLean when he's early in games, it's just controlling the strike zone. Because when I was there on Sunday, Scott came out. I think he came out for the 7th, and he just walked the first batter. Yeah, it's just not something you can do. If you're gonna give him a homer, go give it up, go after him, but don't try to get him fishing against it. Later in games, lineups are gonna wait out pitchers, especially starting pitchers, because they know that they're not on a long leash. So, I mean, focus in. You got to attack guys, and I think they'll get better in that. They're young. It's a young starting rotation. So,
and I wanted you to talk about Senga a little bit because we've talked about his woes this season. They just had Mariano Rivera starting games, and he was struggling. They just didn't know what they had, and really he's incredible. Also, what was his walk-up song? It was something good. I saw it.
He's Beat It now.
Oh, that's electric. Beat It. That's electric.
Yeah. So, the thing I've recognized with Senga. When he came to the league, no one had seen him before, and ERA under 3, 200 strikeouts over the season, 166 innings pitched. He was unhittable, virtually unhittable, kind of like a little bit how he looks now. I mean, it's only been 3 appearances, but I think over time, him using his stuff through 6 innings, trying to go through 7 innings, it's hard to kind of control and mix up the pitches. The hitters have a lot of time to see that. They're seeing a lot of pitches from him, especially when he's a starter. But when you take that window and you close it into 3 outs, it's kind of insane how you get to see how you have to read his pitches and react to them. You're not used to it.
Let me follow my analogy here.
Yeah.
I'm amped up about the new Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr., and that trailer looks incredible. But this is a bigger point about villains and monsters in general. When they're less exposed, when you see less of the monster, when you see less of the villain, they are so much more effective, so much scarier. I feel that way about Kodai Senga. When he's less exposed, when you have him out there for smaller bites, he is a lot scarier and a lot more of a productive figure than maybe when he's out there as a starter. In the same way when people say, oh, Heath Ledger's a better Joker than Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is in every scene of that movie. It's his movie. Heath Ledger is just coming in and, being incredible for 5 minutes and then going, it's Heath Ledger had a way easier job, but it's just different things. I feel that way about Senga as a starter as opposed to a closer. You follow?
I like that analogy. Giving a guy 11 minutes of screen time and then talking about him the rest of the movie is definitely what's going to bring up his value as a villain. So, I mean, thinking about having to face the Ghost Fork in the 9th inning is something that I think makes him that much scarier.
The Ghost Fork is very funny. Anyway, Unholy
What's up?
Trinity news. Joe Tsai just did a interview with Nets Daily and had a quote about the Knicks championship. I feel like it said, Joe Tsai says the Knicks championship left the Nets fan base irritated and embarrassed. Every year, some team is going to win the championship, so it happens that this year that team is in the city and in the same city. It doesn't make us feel very good. It irritates our fan base, and it is embarrassing. We had a plan, and we're rebuilding, and I think right now we are on a positive trajectory, so it doesn't change my thinking at all. I have mixed opinions on that quote.
I don't know. I mean,
'Cause I think he's lying at the end. I think it does change your thinking. I don't think you need to go into crisis mode, but to say that it doesn't change, I think it has.
the Nets are not the Knicks, and they have to operate themselves as the Nets. So
But
that's
you
what I
can't
said that
ignore
early.
it. You can't ignore
You
it.
can't ignore it. It is everywhere.
Maybe
It
that's
is,
what
it
he's
is.
doing.
It is down. There are Knick flags flying, not five blocks from the Barclays Center. So
I haven't done it. I haven't really talked about it recently. I'm still as mad as I was.
I don't even want to get into it anymore because I can't give these fucking guys any more power over me than they already have. But like
Brunson's golf outing.
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be.
Jose Alvarado gets to hang out with Timothy Chalamet and Kylie
I don't
Jenner
care.
at
I don't.
Carlton Towns'
I
wedding.
mean,
what are we doing? What is society crumbled into?
you gotta get a grip.
That wedding looked really
Love you,
cool.
buddy.
That wedding looked
So
really
cool. Looks so cool. But MPJ is not on the guest list, so we.
Do you
can't
think MPJ can marry
It's over.
someone, can marry a woman that's very famous, and then we can somehow get
And
on that?
nobody's gonna marry MPJ, bro. He's a bachelor through and through the rest of his life.
I don't agree. I don't agree. Guys can.
I'm sorry. I mean,
evolve.
hopefully he finds love at some point. But like, damn, bro. Like,
Nonetheless, I think we get into a little gridiron, Phil. We've
Let's
kind of
do it.
left him on the burner here for
Mm-hmm.
long enough now, over an hour in. The JETS seems to maybe be the most happening right now thing in Unholy Trinity land. Phil, how are you feeling? Obviously, they played their first preseason game last Friday. The Jets lose that one 24-16. Obviously, scores and results don't matter as much in preseason. Some positives and negatives to take out of that one. But just general thoughts, general vibes from the Green Machine, Phil. Take it away.
right now there seems to be a little bit of an injury bug hitting our guys over there. Garrett Wilson didn't practice yesterday because he was sick, throwing up in the facility. Geno Smith's nursing an ankle. Breece Hall hurt his groin in practice, non-contact. Quantez Stiggers collapsed at practice last week. They've realized that that's a concussion, so they're going to handle that as they do in the NFL. Maury Bamba, the star of the preseason game on Friday, got hurt. He will be out for 2 weeks with a knee injury. He deflected 4 passes in the opener, looked good in one-on-one coverage. So that's something you got to keep your eye on. I mean, injuries are the one thing that's going to derail this team. Well, not really. They're not a great team, but
Is
injuries will
Azar
make them
Thomas good?
A really bad team. Is that he's number one? He looked good. I'm not too worried about him right now.
He's
I
like
was worried
a-
more about Pons, and I guess this.
I'm just looking at the roster.
Obama
Like, he's
guy.
like a first ballot Hall of Famer in my franchise on Madden. Like, I just assumed that was like built
really?
into something tangible, but I guess not.
Right.
And I was looking at Pons.
He's got some time. He's young.
And I was looking at Pons. I mean, Pons, that seems to be the guy that can just the game changer. The possibility for most.
He hasn't played in weeks either. He was supposed to come in and be a starter, but I mean he hasn't. He's been hurt, and they haven't said anything about him. So I mean, we're gonna see what happens with him. But
And I thought the offense.
him and Sadiq have been hurt. Two of the guys that are gonna be big for the team.
And I thought the offense was really where a lot of the stories were for the Jets, where a lot of you can take a lot from. The team got sacked 4 times altogether. The 3 quarterbacks that played for the Jets combined, Wilson and Cooper, both really looked good in the limited roles they saw. Both of them seeing 3 targets, both having 2 catches for virtually the same amount of yards. That's a really good sign if you're in Jet world. And just looking a little deeper into it, the Jets quarterbacks 20 for 32 altogether, 2 interceptions and over 200 yards. We can get into the Klubnik stuff in a second, but I think pretty good Jets quarterback play. Obviously, not the competition
was good day.
we're going to see, but it was just good to see the ball moving in Jet Green.
Cade Klubnik looked real good in the first quarter. Obviously, he made some mistakes.
95 passer rating in that game.
He looked good. Bailey Zappi did not look good.
No, I mean,
Brady Cook was all right. over.
Was that
100
the
yards passing,
expectation that he was going
Zappi.
to look good, or?
No, but I think right now the competition is between Klubnik and Zappi to be the QB2. I think Brady Cook he got an invitation because he went through so much last year. They need to go get themselves an established veteran to back up Geno because there's no backup plan. I mean, this is a team that has to try to win next season just because, like, humans need to try to win football games when they play in the NFL. So let's say the ankle flares up in week 2 and he can't play week 3. If you're going to throw Cade Klubnik out there, it's like, what was the point of taking him in the 4th round? Like, it seems like he was more of a draft and stash than anything. Like, you got to be careful with how you deal with these guys. You know, you can't just throw it all on. Having no backup plan is something that is proven for the Jets to be a season killer,
Right.
A trajectory killer, you know?
So I'm looking at all the veteran quarterbacks. Like, they're all on teams. Like, I don't know anyone who's unsigned. Malik Willis.
I mean, yeah, they're going to have.
That was the move they should have made.
I don't know, though, because if you're going to throw a bunch of money at a quarterback, why would it be now?
He got a lot of money, to be fair. Like, a lot.
He got a lot of money, and he's good. He's a good player, and he's going to be good for the Dolphins.
Too.
But
Trubisky
the team is, the Dolphins are not a good team, and I think having your quarterback obviously is step one. But you know, he's not on a rookie deal; he's on a free agent deal. He's making a lot of money. You know, it seems like going after a quarterback in free agency now was not something that was going to be in the right time frame for the Jets. You know, they're a team that's rebuilding. You know, at the end of it all, like, we have these aspirations of a 9-8 win team, but you know, these guys, they had 3 wins last year. You're not Super Bowl contenders. You're not like on the outside looking in. Like, you're a team that's got a really long uphill battle, and I think they need stability at the quarterback position. And whether it be through trade or through whatever free agent is still out there, I think that's the next move that they have to make in terms of adding to their roster. And obviously, people have to get healthy. Injuries will kill this team, derail the team, especially since they are reliant on guys that are usually role pieces. So I think if DeMario Davis and Minkah stay healthy and we can get Pons back and keep guys on the field, which is hard to do in a stadium like MetLife, I think they should be able to keep the vibes up and win some games and keep us all interested.
And speaking of vibes, I feel like the guy who maybe has the most responsibility with the vibes is the head coach. I've gotten a lot. The impressions I've gotten from Aaron Glenn this offseason have been fantastic. You sent me that Craig Carton interview he did on his show, and I was super impressed, not only with the assertiveness he talked about the defense with, but also just how measured, calm, composed he was. A lot of the traits of like a true leader, something the Jets really haven't had, to me, in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, Craig Carton is a guy who is known for the theatrics, and he's known for going to jail. Known for really trying to poke the bear and get people out of their seats and angry and yelling. And I think, you know, Aaron Glenn last year was a guy that was going to get angry at everything. Like he said, he tried to be the CEO of the Jets. That's something that's circulating a lot right now. But, you know, he's just a head coach.
Harbaugh's trying to do the same thing, I think.
I think so, yeah, and I think that'll come back to bite them in the butt a little bit when the season starts. Rodgers tried to be the CEO of the Jets. It didn't work. You know, you got to focus on what you're good at, right? Geno Smith will be a guy that's going to throw some interceptions, but he's going to pick up big chunks of yards, whether that be through the air or through little checkdowns. He's going to throw the ball a lot, which is something that they need, and he's good at throwing the ball a lot, whether that be to the right team or the wrong team, but he's good at throwing it. Garrett Wilson's good at catching the ball. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. He is must-see TV, just like our friend Carson Benj. So I mean,
Garrett Wilson's like maybe top 3 guess, like dream guess on the pod, as a net fan and the best player on the Jets.
He's
rad.
He's unbelievable.
He's rad. And also, you talked about quarterback play.
I was so glad that they decided to trade Sauce and not him.
Yeah, that was probably a good call. You talked about quarterback play and how important that is. I wanted to talk about Klubnik a little bit. He was 5 for 7, 56 yards. I said 95 passer rating. You see the practice throws and people hyping him up on Twitter. It's a different thing to see with pads on and in a game, regardless if it's regular season or preseason. How high are you letting yourself get on Cade right now? Because you know I'm not very high on him.
Like I said, you can't. You just can't do it. It's not a market where you can do that, because we saw what happened to Zach Wilson. They inflated him from the draft up.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out. So that's why it's so important that they need to get a guy that's going to be a stable number 2 so that they can let Klubnik develop. Obviously, he looked good in the preseason game. He's been looking a lot better in practice than he has in the first few practices, but you got to give him a shot to learn and grow and watch guys play. Next year, if you want to talk about QB2, maybe QB1, if he comes in late in the season and he impresses, there's always that. I mean, Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick too.
This is true.
You just kind of got to.
He's not Dak Prescott.
Not saying that he's Dak Prescott, but not saying that it's. I'm saying that it's not impossible for a 4th-round pick to be an established starter in the NFL.
But it also just seems
for
different
him to
because Cade was
progress naturally.
What Cade had trouble staying above 500. Dak was on the number 1 team in the country at Mississippi State.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he kind of.
I just don't think
hurt his
Klubnik's
draft
good.
stock a little bit going into that last season. Yeah.
I don't think he's very good.
Yeah, I mean, what we're gonna see an NFL roster, NFL organization use a draft pick on him.
You could say that about Johnny Manziel.
They have him. He's on the team. He's on the team. He's going to get opportunities to play and practice and
This
get
is
better.
great logic.
I'm not saying he's LeBron. I'm not saying he's the savior. People
Remember
are talking
Devin
about,
Smith?
what if he's good and we don't even have to draft a quarterback? I don't remember.
He used to play wide receiver for Ohio State. Remember he did the backflip in the water on Hard Knocks that time, and everyone was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, you can't buy into that.
All knowledge you don't even know. That's how good this is.
I know. I can't even. Whatever. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, Klubnik's ass." Like I can't get into that argument because it'll make me go crazy.
When you have a quarterback, Phil, it's gonna feel like a drug. It's literally gonna feel like how Rodgers felt, but like
we had a quarterback one year, but he was just like, "Oh, I got to be the GM and the New Jersey State Police as well," and it's like, bro, like
my Achilles had to explode.
Right? Like,
my Achilles had to explode.
I don't even want to. That was actually yeah.
So like talking about like a death in your family, like the way you got somber, just now. I brought that up.
So.
But Phil,
I just think like that's something you have to give him the benefit of the doubt for, whatever. But I don't want to get into Rodgers. So,
well, week 1 you're gonna have Salah on the docket. That'll be a little revenge game the Jets can go into immediately. They're gonna go into preseason action again this Friday. You only gotta wait a couple days to watch the Jets again. They'll play against the Steelers. What happened to Heinz Field? They play it at Screezer Stadium now in Pittsburgh. Like, what is that?
Acrisure.
That's horrible.
It's been a few years. I got a little bit of Pittsburgh ball knowledge. They traded that name out a few years ago, and it always feels weird to me. But I like Heinz Field. But everything in Pittsburgh is Heinz. You can't drive in the car for more than 10 minutes without seeing a Heinz sign. So
this is true.
They got enough Pittsburgh love. It does kind of stink that they changed the name of the field, but
it's also iconic. That's the field Tom Hardy blew up. So it's like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So. Anyway, regardless, I think it's an optimistic time for the Jets heading into preseason time. I think, as you always say, it's an optimistic time for the Jets, but I think there is tangible reason to be optimistic going forward with the Jets. Final month of off season for the Nets, a really pivotal time heading into training camp, and the final stages of the 2026 season for the Mets, a pivotal time for them as well, whether it's going to be one of the most miraculous runs to the playoffs in MLB history or really good positive momentum to build on to next.
It's been done before.
It has been done. The Red Sox basically did it. So we will see a final optimism meter. Phil, can you give me 1 to 100 on the 3 teams? I want you to think about it as little as possible on these 3 numbers.
Okay.
Jets first.
We gotta start writing these down so that we know where we go.
They're in the episodes as well.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Digital footprint is real. Jets 70.
70% on the Jets. Just a pass.
I think we went a little bit down.
I think you did. Go on. Phil?
Mets 75 still.
I was going to say, I would have said 75. That's crazy you just said that.
The team is good, but I mean, they're playing carefree right now, which is good. So I mean, we'll see what happens with that.
When Soto's back, they're low key
75.
in 80. They're low key in 80 with Soto back.
Just as an entertainment product, like to be able to watch them has been fun recently. So 75-80, yeah, I like that. And then Nets 74 because Michael Brown Jr. is a 74.
I went like this before you said it. It was almost dead up. I'm gonna start doing that now. You have to say it with your eyes closed, and I'm gonna mimic the number on the screen, and we'll see if I'm right. But I was close. I was
Right.
one. I was 1 to 2 off there, depending on if you're officially 73 or 74.
I think I'm 74 because Michael Brown Jr.'s NBA 2K rating is at 74. So
This kid's a pro. Well, Phil, it's been a pleasure as always. We'll obviously deliberate probably a little more soon with the next episode as opposed to the gap we have now. We've been around 2 weeks since our last episode, but things starting to cook for the Unholy Trinity. We're gonna have all 3 teams in real tangible action in around a month or so. At the same time, we only get a month or so where all the teams are playing together. That's the Unholy Trinity's Christmas. So we'll definitely put out a lot of content for that.
October. If the Mets are playing on October 20th, I'll be in heaven.
We have a Luis Torrens article coming out for Phil in the Substack. I have an article coming out, a Jet article about an interaction, an argument Boomer Esiason and Mad Dog had on the air a long time ago in WFAN. I'm writing a whole article about it and how it pertains to the Jets. But for now, keep a lookout for those. This episode, clips, all things like that. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Substack, and the TikTok. TikTok's going to be more and more active as time goes on. But for now, for me, Chris Carino, one more congratulations to my dad on the Hall of Fame. Philip Ganius, my partner in crime. Phil, any final words?
I got nothing.
Go Mets.
Bench, baby, bench.
Bench. Go Mets. Go Nets. Go Jets. We'll see you all the next time. Thank you for listening, and have a good rest of your day. Appreciate it. Good, Phil.